Hey there, scary story fanatics. Welcome back to Cleaving Thought from Bone with your host, Sociopathic. Feeling dog-tired of the same old monsters haunting your closets and skulking underneath your beds? Well, what about the ones that have been there all along and you've never known it? So, lock your doors and watch your loved ones. Not all that is familiar is friendly. The Familiar Profile.
Tales of dark, terrifying creatures existing just beyond our perception in the forests we all know have been a part of human civilization for as far back as history is documented. From depictions of writhing beasts seeking children, to those of winged skeletal monsters that feed on human flesh. Through a common practice known as research, similarities and differences between certain myths can be construed. One such myth is that of the familiar. The familiar is a newly discovered modern tale that revolves around such a beast of the forest. It's said that the familiar is a creature that seems to be able to change form from that of a woman into that of an eerie beast, and vice versa. When in woman form, it appears as a beautiful naked woman with long black hair. As a beast, dark hair is said to cover the body. Its arms stretch to appear inhumanly long. It's said that long spikes protrude from the backs of both elbows. It has the capability of paralyzing its prey, and its head is that of a large, black coyote with abnormally large yellow eyes. Answers to some of the resulting questions have been found in tales of the past. The following is an account of the research I have unearthed while digging further into this dark mystery. The Southern Legend. The chupacabra, or goat sucker, is a cryptid that has been identified in certain parts of the Americas. The creature is known for killing livestock and drinking the animal's blood. The chupacabra has a wide range of physical characteristics, with some having identified them as being a lizard-type creature with long spines, while others say they are smaller animals that look like a bald coyote with sharp fangs, or a type of coyote wolf and dog hybrid. Werewolf legends. In Henrico County, Virginia, there have been reports of a dog-like creature being seen roaming around the town and countryside. The sightings have been reported so many times that the creature has been dubbed the Werewolf of Henrico County. It has been hard for investigators to get a true first-hand account of this sighting from onlookers, but when the excitement dies down, all the facts remain the same. People report seeing a grayish-colored creature that stands on two legs and sports the face of a werewolf or dog. The majority of these werewolf sightings seem to take place in a cluster in Henrico County, Virginia, both in and around the Confederate Hills Recreation Center. During 1972, there were several alleged werewolf reports made throughout the state. Some people claimed to have seen a 6 or 7 foot furry creature that stood up like a man but resembled a wolf or a dog. Some people said the animal had human characteristics but sported a large, hairy, dog-like head. Nobody reported having a face-to-face encounter with the creature, but the people who made claims to see it from afar were quite certain that they were not staring at a normal wolf or dog. Modern-day coyote attacks on humans. Coyote attacks on humans are uncommon and rarely cause serious injuries due to the relatively small size of the coyote, but having been increasingly frequent, especially in the state of California. In the 30 years leading up to March 2006, at least 160 attacks occurred in the United States, mostly in the Los Angeles County area. Bigfoot legends. According to the Explorer Southern History website, one of the earliest accounts of an attack in the United States dates back to 1829. The weird attack was reported in the newspapers in February 1829 in Georgia, where it allegedly occurred in the Okefenokee Swamp. An expedition of hunters, curious about the Native American legend of wild men in the swamp, went to hunt these creatures down. They made camp and were discharging their guns in order to reload with refreshed powder, when an animal charged them. It killed several men, and the animal was killed itself. The creature was said to measure 13 feet from head to toe. The hunters fled the swamp, leaving their fallen companions where they died. According to a weird report attributed to the California Bigfoot organization, there was one attack in Bishop, California. The story is that Bigfoot came through a camping area, turning over a dumpster and killing several people. The dumpster was far too large for a human, bear, or animal to turn over. Several people are said to have confirmed this story, including a former policeman. The Department of the Interior and Bureau of Land Management is said to have investigated and perhaps covered up the incident. While there have been many Bigfoot sightings over the years, there are not many reports of attacks. Bigfoot is normally believed to be a rather peaceful animal. Retired police testimony. In most cases, one cannot help but be reminded of the Native American legends of the Mountain Devils of Washington State, called sightings, by the Kalam Indians, who were described as giant, hairy, ape-like creatures who lived around Mount St. Helens in the Pacific Northwest, alleged to have stolen Indian women and babies, murdered and terrorized people for centuries, according to Native American stories. The sightings were believed to hunt by stunning their prey with hypnotic powers. They possessed superhuman strength, and their existence was kept a secret by the Indians for many generations. Some Indians of the Pacific Northwest spoke of the sightings as an outcast tribe who were in the process of evolution but did not fully develop into modern humans when they were changing from animal to man. There are also numerous stories of the Wendigo, a beast-like creature with an appetite for human flesh, variously described with matted hair, glowing eyes, and long yellow fangs, who stalks the lonely places. The Wendigo legend was prevalent in the northern United States and Canada, largely involving a cannibalistic predator who roamed around the woods and forests in the coldest climates where food was scarce and survival was challenging. In Missing 411, Paulides classifies Mount Shasta, California, and its surrounding environments as one of the cluster sites where people disappear under highly unusual circumstances. Two of the top highly unusual cases Paulides writes about originate from Mount Shasta and the nearby Marble Mountain wilderness. These disappearances are reported to have occurred in 1999 and 2000. Indian legends, the Navajo skinwalker. Although a skinwalker is most frequently seen as a coyote, wolf, fox, eagle, owl, or crow, the Ni-na-da-Lushi is said to have the power to assume the form of any animal they choose, a decision based on what specific abilities are needed. For example, witches may use a bird form for expedient travel in pursuit, escape, or otherwise. Some Navajo believe that skinwalkers have the ability to steal the face of a person. The Navajo believe that if you ever lock eyes with a skinwalker, they can absorb themselves into your body. Alternately, some Navajo believe that if you make eye contact with a skinwalker, your body will freeze up due to the fear of them, and the skinwalker will use that fear to gain power and energy. The skinwalker is usually described as hairy, except for an animal skin. Some Navajo describe them as a perfect version of the animal in question. The skin may be just a mask, like those which are the only garment worn in the witches' sing, which is the opposite of the good sing. Because animals are used primarily by skinwalkers, the pelt of such animals, as bears, coyotes, wolves, and cougars, are considered taboo. Sheepskin and buckskin are probably two of the few hides used by the Navajo. The others are not used for ceremonial purposes. Often, Navajo will tell of their encounter with a skinwalker, though many hesitate to reveal the story to non-Navajo, or talk of such things at night. Sometimes, the skinwalker will try and break into the house and attack the people inside, and will often bang on the walls of the house, knock on the windows, and climb on the roofs. Sometimes, a strange, animal-like figure is seen standing outside the window, peering in. Other times, a skinwalker may attack a vehicle and cause a car accident. The skinwalkers are described as being fast, agile, and impossible to catch. Legend has it, skinwalkers have the power to read human thoughts. They can also possess the ability to make any human or animal noise they choose. A skinwalker may use the voice of a relative or the cry of an infant to lure victims out of the safety of their homes. The skinwalkers cannot enter a home without invitation. Skinwalkers use charms to instill fear and control their victims, such charms as human bone dust, which can cause paralysis and heart failure. Indian legends, the Sioux, or Sharp Elbows. Sharp Elbows is a malevolent humanoid monster of the Chouir and Winnebago tribes. He resembles a human, but with long bone spikes protruding from his elbows, which he uses to stab people to death. In some stories, he also has a second face on the back of his head, like the Sioux Doubleface. In some stories, Two-Face is a predator who eats humans, but in most, he is an evil being who kills simply for the sake of killing, frequently targeting women and children. With parallels among the Sioux, Plains, and Omaha tribes, the two-faced monster, also known as Sharp Elbows, is a humanoid, two-faced person who delights in torturing and killing unsuspecting victims. Anyone who sets eyes on Two-Face's second set of features will be killed or paralyzed by fear. Two-Face most often preys on children and pregnant women, usually killing them by stabbing them repeatedly with his razor-sharp elbows. According to some legends, Two-Face is a cannibal all legends, he gruesomely disfigures his victims before moving on. In Lakota legends, Two-Face is most often a woman who's been turned into a two-faced monster after trying to seduce the sun god. According to these legends, one of the faces is beautiful and one is hideous, which to the Native Americans represents disharmony and a departure from tradition. Even in stories where Two-Face isn't an evil monster out to torture the weak, she still represents nonconformity. Although the variety of these legends, coyote attacks, the werewolf, the chupacabra, the familiar, the Sioux, or sharp elbows, speak of various monstrosities, each legend is eerily similar to the next. Whether it's a beast of legend or something undiscovered seems not to matter. It would appear the only truly significant fact here is that it's currently being called the familiar, and it has been documented in history and legend for over 300 years.
They say profiling is bad, but in this instance, it may save your future, should you have one at all. And remember to stop by again this Halloween. For a tale of such epic proportions, you'll need to bring your candy bag. And until then, remember to like, share, subscribe, and turn on notifications so I can catch you all again this Halloween.